Pizza? Pizza? That was part of the gig. Hello and welcome everybody to August 3rd, Dayton City Council meeting. I'd like to welcome everybody. Can we please have a roll call, Ms. Ledger?
Yes. Mayor Baker?
Here.
Member Volter?
Here.
Member Neary?
Here.
Member Neiman?
Here.
Member Kelly?
Here.
Member Lovins?
Here.
Member Baszler?
Here.
City Administrator Fawcett?
Here.
City Attorney Edmondson?
Here.
Full house, and we love those. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to rise for a moment of silence and then we'll do the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. For the mayor's report, we've had a very busy month as far as code enforcement has been. I'd like to give a big thanks to Code Enforcement Officer Cassie Patterson and City Administrator Jay Fawcett. They acquired some buildings that were in major disrepair that are no longer eyesores. Well, they won't be for long. And others on 4th Avenue, I believe Councilmember Lovins may know a little bit about that one. It's no longer a problem in her neighborhood.
Correct.
So we're making quick work of these long-time projects. So well done, team, and let's keep moving forward. That's pretty much my report because that's pretty much what we've been working on this month. Which moves us along to audience comments. Before we do that, I'd like to recognize two members of our audience this evening. Mr. Otto, if you'd like to stand up, approach the podium, and introduce yourself, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say hello. My name is Justin Otto. I'm the new Economic and Community Development Director for the Campbell County Fiscal Court. For generations, my family has lived, worked, and served in Campbell County, so it's just a dream for me to be able to serve my community as well. And more importantly, I'm a Dayton resident, so thank you for the members of council, mayor, and city administrator for really, I mean, my wife and I love living in Dayton, so we really appreciate that. Thank you. Appreciate it. If you ever need anything, please let me know.
Are you related to Fred?
I am. He's my dad. Yeah. I get that reaction a lot.
Fred's the main security guy at the Campbell County Courthouse. You gotta go through Fred. And you're probably gonna get in a conversation on the way through there.
Welcome home, Justin, and thanks for your service to the community.
Thank you.
The second person we have that would like to introduce himself tonight is Mr. Terrace Horton. Terrace, would you please approach the podium?
Hello everybody, my name is Terrace Horton. I'm a new entrepreneur in the city. I own the barbershop, Horton's Barbershop. It's right on 530 6th Avenue. I'm extremely excited to be here. Extremely excited to be a part of this community. I want to thank everybody for being welcoming to me and my new ideas, and it's been a breath of fresh air seeing you guys up here and just being here, part of what you guys are going on. Thanks. That's it.
He gives a good haircut.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Horton. We'd now like to open up the podium for anybody from the public who would like to speak to council and myself and administration tonight regarding any upcoming legislation. And remember that this is just for upcoming legislation. Public comments will be also later in the agenda. Go ahead and close that out. 3, 2, it's closed. Moving right along to the ordinances, orders, and resolutions. Tonight we have a second reading of 2021 number 13. This is amending the 2021 and the 2022 budget. Ms. Ledger, if you would, please.
City of Dayton, Kentucky, ordinance number 2021, number 13. An ordinance amending the City of Dayton, Kentucky's annual budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, and estimating revenues and resources, and appropriating funds for the city to the full extent authorized by KRS 82.082 and interpretive case law. Second reading.
That's a second reading. Do we have a motion to accept the 2021 number 13?
Move to accept 2021 number 13.
Member Volter's moved to accept it. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Member Lovins. Do we have any comments regarding this ordinance? Anyone?
This is to accommodate, primarily to accommodate the raises for our firefighters and police departments.
That's correct.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Just a reminder to everybody, this is, we got the federal money that we're using this, some of this for, or some of that for this. That's not a permanent every year gift. And with the cost of the pensions going up 12% per year, it's not that I oppose, absolutely I don't oppose the raises to get our people more competitive. I'm just saying that long term, we got to start bringing in more revenue. We got to find more revenue sources for the community to keep this going so that we don't have to dip into our reserves so much. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments regarding the ordinance? And I guess it was not even a month ago, that Chief Atkins and a member of the fire department approached council and let us know that they put out a job application for a new paramedic firefighter. And we received, I believe, 0 applications.
Yes.
We have cities, Covington, Newport, whomever, offering higher rates. We've once again put that application out, so we're a man down, or a woman down. And Chief Atkins, you put out that application again, and the news that Bellevue and Dayton have been working together to make this work has been in the media. And what do we have any applicants for this position?
We have 4 as of today when I left, and we actually extended it another week just to see, because we put it on Indeed.
Yeah.
So to get it out beyond, we send it to every county in the state through all our channels, and, social media and email blast list that we all have. So every county, every fire department, we sent it to Gateway, all the schools that have paramedic programs going on. And we did post it on Indeed as well. So we'll see if that kind of maybe generates a little outside the area interest. So.
Chief, you said that I think one of the firefighters who left the department was considering coming back. Is that
Yes.
still a possibility?
It's still on the table.
Okay.
Still on the table. So, I don't want to say too much or
All right,
put him in any kind of
I
spot.
got it, yeah.
So.
So, appreciate everybody's work on this and consideration. I know Mr. Foss has put a lot of time into working with the city of Bellevue to join this effort. That's all my comments regarding this. Do we have any other comments regarding ordinance 2021 number 13? A roll call vote, Ms. Ledger.
Member Volter?
Aye.
Member Neary?
Aye.
Member Neiman?
Aye.
Member Kelly?
Aye.
Member Lovins? Member Basa?
Aye.
You guys have it unanimously. That's the only second reading we have on the agenda for the evening. We have a first reading, it's number 2021, number 14. This is changes to registering of vacant property. Ms. Ledger, please.
City of Dayton, Kentucky, ordinance number 2021, number 14. An ordinance amending 157.02, 157.03, and 157.04 of the Dayton Code of Ordinances, and to add the definition actively rehabbing and publicly advertised to the definition section, changing registration requirements, including time period for filing a registration and whom it is filed, and changes to the fees paid to register vacant property in the city from $500 an annual payment to $500 for the first 6 months a property is vacant, and $500 for the next 6 months it remains vacant, and $1,000 annually thereafter. First reading.
So, by way of background, Cassie and I have been dealing with this ordinance for a while. It was very confusing. for not only us, but people trying to comply with it. So we felt we needed to clarify the terms of the ordinance. While we got into it, we started thinking, well, why do we only charge $500 a month? $500 for a whole year. We have these poor people just sitting on properties here for years and years and years and doing nothing. So we thought we would dump that up and just say, we'll give you an opportunity to get it, sold or advertised 6 months. If you don't do it in 6 months, that's a $500 charge. And then if you don't do it for another 6 months, total of a year, it's $1,000. And every year, that's $1,000. So our feeling is, if you want to own property in Dayton and you want to own vacant property, we have to pay for it. And if you want to fix it up or you want to sell it, then that's fine. We're not going to bother you. But if you're not, we want you to, pay for that. Purely because we have fire runs, we have board up costs, we have all these things that we are being charged with because the vacant properties are there, and we should be, as residents, our taxpayers should not be paying for that. We should be the people who are owning these vacant and dilapidated properties. So this also aims at banking companies that foreclose on properties. For the last year or so, there's been a moratorium on foreclosures, but I think that's coming off. At least that's the rumor. There's rumors that it may continue. So that also requires them to register those properties with the city. This is a part to become vacant under foreclosure. So we just want to send a message out there that we're not going to put up with it anymore. This is what we're trying to do with this.
Thank you, Mr. Fawcett. Again, that's a first reading. Moving right along to first reading number 2020-15. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 154 to change the definitions of carryout, drive-in, and sit-down restaurant, and adding definitions for mobile food vending cart, and mobile food vending vehicles. Ms. Ledger, please.
City of Dayton, Kentucky, ordinance number 2021, number 15. An ordinance amending Chapter 154 of the Dayton Code of Ordinances, the city zoning code, including amending Section 7.0, words and phrases, to change the definition of carryout, drive-in, and sit-down restaurants, and adding definitions for mobile food vending carts, and mobile food vending vehicles. Amending Section 10.8, R1JJ, Residential 1 Zone, to add mobile food vending vehicles as an accessory use. Amending Section 10.15, Central Business District, the CBD zone, to change the development controls for mobile food vending and outdoor dining. Amending Section 10.17, Neighborhood Commercial District, the NCD zone, to make outdoor eating and drinking and mobile food vending vehicles an accessory and conditional use, and changing the development controls for mobile food vending and outdoor dining. Amending Section 10.19, MLU, the mixed land use zone, to make mobile food vending vehicles an accessory use. First reading.
So the way of background on this is that we don't allow outdoor dining in our city right now, even though most communities do. Take Newport, and we do have businesses that do outdoor dining, even though it's technically a violation of our ordinance. So we want to change that. The new business that's locating across from City Hall, Tuba Pretzel or Tuba Bakery, they want to do a beer garden, but right now we can't do a beer garden because we don't allow outdoor dining. We also have businesses that want to maybe do dining on sidewalks if they're large enough and can accommodate that. So that's what that section is about, outdoor dining. We also have 2 businesses that want to do food trucks. One's the new marina down near the Gateway Apartments. They're talking about they have a bar down there, but they don't serve food, so they get a food truck come in and serve them. And also the garage wants to be able to technically, they have food trucks there before, but technically that would be a violation too. They want to make sure that they can do that legally. So that's the reason we did that. We had a hearing with the Planning Commission a couple of Mondays ago, and they made a recommendation to approve those changes.
Mr. Fawcett.
If I could, sir, just to clarify, especially for existing businesses, these mobile food vending carts, and mobile food vending vehicles in this ordinance would still be subject to occupational licensing requirements.
That's correct.
Thank you.
And this is zoning, so it's only on private property that this applies to. Zoning only applies to private property. If the city wanted to allow it on public property, it could do that, but that would be our discretion to do that. But this is just for private property, but they wouldn't be required to have applications.
So if you were throwing a big music festival or anything of that nature, we would be able to allow food vending.
Well, as long as it's on our property, we can allow it. Zoning doesn't apply to cities.
Your comments regarding this ordinance? And again, that's just the first reading. Moving right along, order resolution number 2021, number 22 Romeo. This is an agreement between the city and Arlington Properties Incorporated relating to a multifamily residential rental development project and the issuance of a IRB, or an industrial building revenue bond. Ms. Ledger, please.
Resolution number 2021, number 22R. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Dayton, Kentucky, authorizing the execution of a memorandum of agreement between the city and the Arlington Properties Incorporated, relating to the acquisition, construction, equipping, and installation of a multi-family residential rental development project to be located in a designated downtown business district of the city, agreeing to undertake the issuance of industrial building revenue bonds at the appropriate time and subject to the condition precedent to pay the cost of acquiring construction, equipping, and installing said project and facilities, and take other preliminary action.
Yeah, Jim Parsons here represents the entity that is seeking this. Jim, you want to say anything?
Yeah, thank you. I'm Jim Parsons with Keedy Youth and Clee Camp. I'd be acting as bond counsel on this particular transaction. Again, industrial revenue, I think I went over this before, industrial revenue bonds are issued by the city, but they're private debt. The city has no responsibility, even by statute. It's not a debt of the city relative to that. Arlington was the developer and builder of Tapestry on the river that just recently sold. And so actually what they're doing is actually using the benefit they got from that and actually deciding to do another project in Dayton. So it's approximately $50 million plus project, 250 plus units, and on the very east side of the Manhattan Harbor development. So that's basically the situation. They do a very good job. I think they've been one of the fastest developers of the project down on the riverfront. And they're just really a high quality development. They're doing existing projects now, and the former Chase Law School site in Covington's under their construction. They have a project in Florence they're doing. So it's an Alabama development company, but they're doing a significant amount of work in this area, and they're really a high quality development. This particular project, the city, through the use of the IRBs, you're 100% protected from the TIF proceeds and things. So actually the city under the IRB is not providing any direct city benefit, because all those taxes would be paid to the city, either to the city's general fund and or the TIF. And so because of the way the TIF works, the benefit here, quite frankly, to the developer is there's a portion of the school taxes that the school has to voluntarily agree to give up, but Campbell County Schools normally will do this. This particular site actually is in the boundary of the school district changes on the very east side, and so this particular site's in the Campbell County School District, and we would get an approval to move forward. As part of this, we'd also have to go to the Campbell County School District. This is just an initial step. Assuming you adopt this resolution, then we'll make application to the state local debt officer to sign off on, because this particular type of project requires a state approval that we'll go through the next step of this process.
So just to clarify, if this resolution passes, the tax money would not go towards Dayton Independent Schools, but towards
Campbell County.
County.
Yeah, this is in the Campbell County School District. And so, but the city would collect whatever it was entitled to 100%, and so the other taxing districts would get a benefit too.
I just want to make sure council understands that the demarcation point of the Dayton Independent Schools is at that flood wall right there.
That's
This
right.
is beyond that by probably 100 feet.
That's right. Yeah. Oftentimes, the school district boundaries do not exactly match up with the city boundaries and stuff.
Mr. Parsons, has Campbell County School District already signed off on this IRB?
No, but I anticipate, I've already been in contact with the superintendent, and the terms he's already has the agreement in place. And in addition to that, based upon what they have done for other projects, this is the same exact percentage they approved, the Southgate project and the projects in Highland Heights. And the reason they will normally sign off and approve it is because the way the SEEK funding formula works, they can actually give up a portion of their local real estate taxes and get the same net revenue. So what Campbell County Schools has traditionally done, Boone County and Kent County Schools will do the same thing. They'll give up a certain percentage based upon what they'll lose on state funding if it's on the tax rolls. So they have calculated pretty much to the penny what the net benefit they can give up to get the same net revenue overall with a combination of local and state funding.
And when do you expect that vote to be held by the Campbell County School Board?
I would anticipate this month. It's already moving forward on their agenda.
And has the property already been sold by the riverfront developer to Arlington?
No, they have a firm purchase contract to purchase it. This, getting the incentives in place is one of the due diligence requirements relative to that. So
Is it a condition of sale?
it is a condition of sale. Without the approval and the incentives, then Arlington does not have to move forward.
And probably zone change too, or anything.
Yeah, there's some other things. And this is only a preliminary document. They have to go through all those, any zoning requirements, any plan approval, anything like that would be a condition of moving forward.
But that's already MLU down there, so an apartment.
They have to get what they call development plan approved, so just because it's in an MLU, they still have to get certain things approved, like sign off by the planning commission. I mean, the zoning is, the use is allowed, just how they design it, planning commission got to check the boxes.
Would that decision come back before council?
No. Only zone changes can be put against.
They've already met with city member with Campbell County Planning Commission and already started working on concepts and the design relative to that. We'll be glad to keep city administrator, the mayor, whoever involved in moving forward on the project.
I did meet with them in the city, and the county planning commission last Thursday, so let's put our meeting.
So, Mr. Parsons, I've always been a staunch supporter of development behind the flood wall on the riverfront. This is another 251 units, I believe, in addition to what is at the east end already with Tapestry. It creates some unique concerns for the city, and I want Arlington and you all to be aware of those.
Okay.
So with the numbers of people that are projected to live at the east end behind the flood wall, our first responders are put in a very tenuous situation of traveling all the way through the city to get to that other end, to get behind the flood wall, to get to any problems. That's one thing. The other thing is that all the traffic that is developed by both of these, the existing development and the potential development, is funneled one way, straight down Manhattan Boulevard to O'Fallon Avenue. We just spent a lot of time addressing the traffic issues at O'Fallon Avenue because of the safety concerns of residents there with traffic coming in and going out. And of course, it's all basically from Manhattan Boulevard because that's the way of choice. Just get on there and drive straight through. So it creates some unique traffic issues. At the same time, all of those cars, how many there are, and all those residents completely bypass our central business district. They do not stop to use disposable income in our businesses because they're going right by them when they leave for work or wherever and when they come back. So those are some long-term concerns that I have. And of course, the long-term benefits are the real estate taxes, the license fees and vehicle registration fees and those things that the city would glean from the project. But long after the project is completed, all of those things that I mentioned are going to still be there. So those are just some concerns I have.
Yeah, I understand, and we've already had some discussions. I think from the development standpoint, the developer, they're concerned. They're interested, and I know that I've been here through several meetings relative to the connection to Berry Street and things like that, and how critical that is to council. I think projects like this, my client would certainly be interested in, putting pressure on the developer, the seller in this case, to get things like that done too. So it's an issue. I was city manager in Newport for years. I understand how there's a balance between you like those residents who are living there to get more involved in the actual community, things like that. I think that will come. I really do. But again, in this particular site, I think you're going to find they'll have another opportunity too, because they'll be on the end of the site. They have another way of getting in and out by going through the downtown. Better access.
They could go to 4th Street, but I'm assuming once they go to 4th Street and they hit 8 or 9 stop signs and 3 traffic lights, they're probably going to go back to that Manhattan Boulevard stretch.
Yeah. I know I retired from public service in 2006, and so from 2006 until today, I have been working on Manhattan Harbor. I mean, literally, either with my former law firm at Taft, I set the original development agreement up. I did all of that and things, and so hopefully one of these days it'll be fully developed and I can move on to something else. But it's been exciting. One of the things that I'm sure you understand this, but that flood levy was zero assessment for forever and things. And now with, I understand the impact of development. I think we need to solve those issues. But, next, the Tapestry project just sold for a $70 million number, which will show up on your duplicate next year relative to that in the pilot. So just be aware of that. I mean, so you've actually gone, from a value of zero, the flood wall generating zero revenue, to now probably after next year, you're going to probably have $130, $40 million assessment values that are going to be generating either direct taxes or pilot taxes for the city. The other thing that, that these projects also generate tangible taxes, and they also generate occupational through rental license fees, things like that. So it's a big revenue generator for you, but I do know there's an impact, and probably, and I know that there's always this view of trying to see if there's any ways that they can support the downtown businesses more and things like that.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
My concern is, I haven't even seen the plan on this. The last I heard for that property, or a previous plan for that property, was for single family homes, about 25 of them. This is 10 times the number of residences. I agree, tax money's great, but at what cost? We have a flooding problem on 4th Street occasionally, because the combined sewer along 4th Street is 150 years old and too small. Adding 250 units at the end of that, it's a big concern for me, and I'm sure for the residents down there too. Without having seen, I mean, this isn't a bunch of, or 25 homes down there. This is 4 big towers, I presume, correct? Similar to what Tapestry is. And I know you're only the IRB agent on this, I apologize.
No, we represent the developer on this particular situation as far as working through that, so when we, relative to that. So we were involved with helping put that whole thing together. I will tell you the Tapestry, as it was, and the quality of that particular project is really, in the way they built that, they did a really outstanding job relative to that. So.
I'm very satisfied with Tapestry, and obviously even more so, $70 million more so. But my concern is I mean, you're talking 250 units. I don't think we have 250 housing units in that area of Jamestown in the East End. It's going to be a huge impact, not just traffic. I'd like to see the plans and know that the sewer is not going to be an impact issue. Traffic-wise, I don't think any traffic studies included 250 plus more people on that end of town in the current situation, as Mr. Volter said, which is, how's it gonna impact 4th Street? How's it gonna impact Manhattan Boulevard? We've already got residents that invested in Manhattan Boulevard in the $1 million homes down there that are upset about the amount of traffic.
Gentlemen, you're at liberty that, planning director, Cindy Mitchell did say that they need to do a traffic study to this site, would be met on Thursday, so that's something she wanted to do.
This particular approval doesn't give them approval to build. There's all kinds of other approvals they have to go through. Relative to stormwater and sanitary issue, this should tie directly into the large 110-inch sewer line that was built to particularly support this particular development, as well as solve a lot of the other problems. I'll be glad to get William Morris up here to meet with you and go over the full plans. I'm just saying that you've got a good example of what it's going to look like and deal with, because they did one already, and they've really done a quality job with it. So I don't think they skimped at all on that particular project. So.
I think that would be a good idea to have the developer, Mr. Morris, having it the first time Thursday, to come up and show. I know the plans at this time were kind of in flux, but I think they'll have something more down here soon. It would be nice
Glad to do that.
Maybe to show the city council what's being planned there.
So would it be a good idea to table this until the next meeting and have the developer present? So I'm sure John Q. Public's gonna have a lot of questions that I don't have the answers to. And if this is the last vote that we get on this, one way or the other.
This isn't the last vote you get, believe me. Let me explain. This is not the issuance of the bonds. This is only a preliminary intent to issue bonds. Before the bonds are issued for this project and the financing closes, we have to come back and get a bond order adopted. So if you just, yeah, so this is, all this does is allows us to go forward to the next level of approval to get the right to issue bonds, but we have to come back before council to get that done. So just, then that will not occur until we're ready to close on the financing. We'll come back and at that point adopt the bond resolution.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought I asked that previously and somebody said.
The zoning may be, you don't have to vote on the zoning, but there's a lot of other things, other major issues that will come back to council for your approval before this closes.
That changes a lot.
This is simply an intent to issue bonds, but it doesn't exempt them from complying with any zoning requirements, any building inspection requirements, or anything like that. They're going to have to be meeting with the city to go over the plans. And all this does is allows them to say, if they decide to move forward and acquire the property, then they know that they have the ability to use this bond financing as an incentive.
So basically then this is their due diligence that they're doing in order to make their final
That is
financial
correct.
decision.
That's correct.
Okay.
And again, before these bonds would close, we would actually have to come back and adopt a bond. You'll see it again. You have to come back and adopt the bond resolution in order. And if for some reason things have changed and you're not satisfied with the plan, the city is not, you're indicating an intent issue, but it's not final until you adopt the final bond.
And then there are also other factors that are going to go into their final decision-making too, that could be something that would cause them to pull out.
That's correct.
Right, okay.
Do they have plans to address, like, I just know when it floods down there, the water comes up close enough where we close the gates there, like, do they have plans to address, like, flood abatement
They
down there?
can't build unless it's above the 100-year flood levy, and so they'll have to address that issue. And that's one of the whole issues of what we did when we did the original TIF development area. That could not be built on before all that fill was brought in. So this particular site, I believe the site they're looking at specifically is above the 100-year levy. That doesn't mean, but they couldn't get a building permit to build unless it was.
They told me that the week Thursday that most of it is above. There's a few areas they need to get above. And then the road though has to be built above too. So that's what Mark Stark's trying to do now in dealing with the Corps of Engineers. They have to sign off on that. He's got to get that road above the floodplain. So that road will be up higher, and then it will connect to that, and that will be above the 100-year floodplain.
Gotcha. All right, I'd like to make a motion to accept this order.
Motion's been made to accept the order of 2021-22 Romeo by Member Baszler. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Volter. It opens it back up to comments. Do you have any comments regarding this ordinance?
As I said, I'd like to see publicly, so we can present, I know many of the plans may be preliminary here, but at least conceptual, and also, I'm sure any traffic impact study, and also assurance from SD1 that it's not gonna complicate the issues we have already.
Yeah, I will tell you, this particular developer is about the easiest to deal with. I mean, he'll be glad to, William is just an outstanding client and just really a good person. He'll be glad to come and meet with you and go over anything relative to that. He's very open on his project.
That would be great, thank you, sir.
Any more comments regarding this ordinance?
What the traffic impact study, how would that affect our location plans going forward? Like when would that be? How would this affect us?
I'm not sure when it will be completed, but Cindy Minner made it clear that when she met with them on Thursday, that she wanted to see a traffic plan on how it would impact the traffic in the city and whether this would, roads could accommodate the additional cars that were generated by this project. So she made it pretty clear that she wants that done as part of this review process.
Okay.
I'm not sure when it'll be done.
Any more comments regarding it? We have a motion, we have a second. Comments are closing, 3, 2. Comments are closed. Ms. Ledger, if you do a roll call, please.
Member Neary?
Aye.
Member Neiman?
Aye.
Member Kelly?
Aye.
Member Lovins? Aye. Member Baszler?
Aye.
Member Bolton?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Unanimously, ayes have it. Moving right along to order resolution number 2021, number 23 Romeo, accepting the resignation of Jeff Haas from the Dayton Planning and Zoning Commission and appointing Robert Bob Schragi to the commission. Do I have a motion to accept resolution 2021, number 23 Romeo?
So moved.
Member Neary has made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Member Neary. Sorry, Member Neiman. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Ayes have it. I'd like to thank Mr. Haas for his service, and I'd like to welcome Mr. Schragi to his service. Next on the docket is order resolution number 2021, number 24 Romeo. This is asking Kentucky Department of Transportation Cabinet to change the signalization at the corner of 6th and Berry from a 4-way stop light to a 4-way stop sign. I know Mr. Neary has requested this in the past a few times. So Mr. Fawcett, if you could explain exactly what we're doing with a resolution as such.
So the resolution is, I'm sure I'll read here in a second, is that basically we're asking the state to, on a temporary basis, to deactivate light and to put 4 stop signs in Berry and 6th, and then evaluate traffic activity and see whether that improves the situation in terms of pedestrian and vehicular interactions and just slows down traffic is one of the things we want to do. One of the things we mentioned in the resolution is that things have changed since the last time anybody looked at this because Route 8 is now shut down. We don't have a lot of traffic coming from that part of Cable County, so we really need a traffic light there. So basically, we're asking them not to necessarily take the light away right away, but leave it there until we figure out whether it's a better solution than what we have now.
Thank you, Mr. Fawcett. Ms. Ledger, if you would please read.
City of Dayton, Kentucky, resolution number 2021-24R. A resolution requesting that the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet install stop signs at the intersection of 6th Avenue and Berry Street in the city of Dayton and to study traffic patterns and activities at this intersection.
Thank you. I have a motion to accept order resolution 2021, number 24 Romeo.
So moved.
Mr. Folger's made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Member Kelly. Any comments?
We did this before, city council did this before about 4 years ago. It went nowhere. There was a majority vote to do this same exact thing. To respectfully request, and I've asked Mr. Edmondson, our city attorney, the quandary here is, it's our citizens, it's our pedestrians, it's our businesses, it's us traveling through that intersection. And we're responsible for all of that as a council, but KYTC's responsibility is to get traffic flowing quickly through town. So the divergent, I'll be disappointed if the transportation cabinet turns down this respectful request. I'll put that on the record, so.
And I will state on the nay on this. Are we going to, coming around Hansman's, I mean, they see the light, but is there gonna be like a stop sign, something ahead? Because school traffic, that will become a nightmare if we can have a four-way stop.
There will be stop signs put up, I'm presuming?
And we have a ton of kids that cross there, and
That's the main reason for this.
correct, and I think making it a four-way stop is, it's gonna cause the same confusion right there at Hansman's where who's turning what, I'm gonna go ahead and turn. I don't think put stop signs is,
The issue to me is really the westbound traffic, and the eastbound traffic for that matter on 6th Avenue. And if we're talking about school trying to turn left to get down to the school is almost impossible in the mornings. They get backed up, there's no passing lane. With the eastbound traffic, if you're heading eastbound, you can't see around that curve to Hansman's. I know we always talk about nobody's been killed there yet, but I don't want to be the first one. I think with a four-way stop, we have them all over town, people are used to them. Probably 95% of the people that go through that intersection are residents.
yes.
So it's not like we're throwing one up, a speed trap or something like that for people traveling through. I just think it would make it a much safer, especially for our businesses down there. Often, if you're visiting a business, you have to park down in Berry or somewhere else. I just think it's worth a try.
Now, currently, right there at the corner of where Hansman's and all of that is, that's already backed up in the mornings to where no one can even turn left to get to school because at Lincoln, there's only one traffic pattern to go to get to Lincoln. So you're gonna have to go past Hansman's, make that left, and then that's all the way backed up to the light. So added another stop sign to traffic that's already backed up down the avenue. I mean, I think it's gonna cause more. And I still think that blind spot, when you make that turn,
There's actually a pole there. We could put a stop ahead sign there. There's a pole right at the bend on that side. There's already a telephone pole. We could put a stop ahead sign up there to warn that traffic from the blind spot. But as I said, and most of the people that go through the intersection live here, so they'll
Correct.
notice it the first time. I just think it's worth a try. I know the businesses down there have asked me about it. I've sat through so many, if you're on Berry trying to turn on the 6th, I hope you brought water. 'Cause
correct, you got 7 seconds, because I live on 4th, which I must go to Berry, and then I must make a left, take my kid to school 5 days a week, and it definitely is a nightmare, because you do get 7 seconds.
What do you think would be a better fix? Do you have any suggestion?
I just think the stop sign is just gonna cause additional backup to what's already, I mean, if they would just adjust the light to where, you know what I mean, the people trying to turn on at 6 can at least have a chance to turn.
Yeah.
But unless city opens it up, big crosswalks, I mean, it's just, Dayton doesn't have bus service, our kids walk, and when I talk about the 7 seconds, it's, if a kid's crossing, no one's turning.
And that is my primary reason for this is with the school being so close.
Yes.
And most of the kids walk to school. The ones that aren't walking to school are probably getting transported by their parents who are in that same traffic pattern. And even after school hours or during the summer, I've sat down there at the monument or in Hometown Heroes watching
Yeah.
traffic go by. and it ain't 25, and we can't have a police officer down there all the time. I just think that that slowing down of traffic would add to the safety in our central business district, in our most important corner.
And if we decide to do this,
I was gonna say, and this will just be a temporary, we try it, see
Yeah.
how it goes. I mean, because we're a couple weeks away
right,
from school beginning for Dayton, so.
Jess, I don't think you're gonna worry about KYTC moving that fast.
That was gonna be my question, was what kind of
But
timeline?
then my concern is that if we do get more development, and, I mean, I love development, but those trucks are a freaking nightmare.
Oh, yeah. I think if we do this, one of the things, both chiefs are here tonight, I think we could have a quick education lesson at our school before this goes into effect, if we decide to do it, so that they can talk to the kids about how to approach crosswalks and stop signs there at 6th Avenue. I think that would be a good idea, gentlemen. I know
Do
you.
they have crosswalks?
I know you can do that.
Crossing guards?
We have
Around
crossing
Lincoln,
guards.
yes, they have crossing
at
guards,
Lincoln,
too.
Yeah. At
On
Lincoln
Playside
School.
and Green Double Lane.
And they do a great job.
Yes, they do.
They do a
Which
great
one of
job.
our crossing guards were
Yeah, they-
tapped with a vehicle this past school. And it's just that intersection, and you have the trucks, you have the deliveries, all at the exact same time. It is a nightmare
Yeah,
down
the
there.
fact that that's a truck route does not help the situation
Correct.
at all. At all.
And that, I mean,
And you know why they can't go down the main? I don't know. I'm not sure. I think we've requested that before, that they change that truck route down the main. Haven't we? I think we have.
I think you can request all you want, it's a state route.
I know, I understand. But it's a mess. Those trucks coming down through there, and they come down a lot of times from schools, right, getting out.
oh, I was gonna say, it's a nightmare in the mornings. And even at the end, but it's,
Well, the only thing it's gonna cost, I think, is a couple of seconds for people traveling east and west that normally have to leave. And I would rather sacrifice speed for the sake of safety.
oh, without doubt. It's just that blind spot, and then putting in crosswalks, you know what I mean?
Well, there's already crosswalks there, all four directions. But if you're at hometown trying to go over towards the Rainey Building, you're like this.
Well,
And you beat that button as much as you want, but it's not gonna turn.
Because you can't really see the traffic. I mean, I get that part too. I'm just,
I think it'd be nice to enhance those crosswalks if we do this.
and then just that blind spot just makes me,
It's a matter of people getting used to it for a couple of weeks and see how it turns out. And see if the transportation cabinet will actually allow us to do that.
Again, this is just a request for the
Yeah.
transportation cabinet.
Do we know like how long they typically would take to respond to the request? And then how long after that could a study even be implemented?
I will never, ever put my name on responding
This
to
request could
how long will it take for
fruition
the
in
state to do something.
2023?
It's gonna be 3 weeks, no, it
No,
won't
it
be.
won't be that.
so we're like maybe a year away, so we can,
So who's our legislator?
We're
Which one you want?
I have to tell you that, because they never respond timely.
okay.
Or state rep?
It's good, yeah, it will take I think Alex is correct. You gotta rattle some cages in Senate and House, and have them rattle cages at KYTC for them to listen. This would be a good first step if that is the direction you so choose, council. We've had a motion by Member Volter and a second by Member Kelly. Do we have any more comments regarding this resolution? We'll go ahead and close comments. And if you get a roll call, please, Ms. Ledger.
Yes. Member Neiman?
Aye.
Member Kelly?
Aye.
Member Lovins?
Oh, I just for
Member
the
Baszler?
years away.
Aye.
Member Volter?
Aye.
Member Neary?
Order resolution number 2021, number 24, Romeo, has passed unanimously with ayes.
Thank you. I hope that carries some weight with the transportation.
Next on the docket, we have the approval of the July 6th and the July 20th meetings. And remember, we had 2 meetings last month. Do I have a motion to accept?
I'll make that motion to accept the minutes from July 6th and July 20th.
Member Bazers made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm gonna go with Volter this time. Volter made second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Ayes have it unanimously. Now on to the department head report. In no particular order, just what I wrote down over here. Chief Atkins, if you would please give your report to the city council.
Good evening, you guys have got my report. Not a whole lot to add to that. Our new ambulance is here. We had our annual Kentucky Board of EMS inspection that we have every year, which they check our records, check our training, things like that. And they also inspected the new ambulance to make sure it met all the requirements for the state, so that passed with flying colors and it is now in service. So thank you all for allowing that to happen. As Mayor Baker said, we are 1 short. We have posted for the job. So we're hoping to get some quality applicants. And it's a weird time because there's so many fire department openings right now. And we're competing with other departments, and the supply is less than the demand. The demand is way over the supply we have for people wanting to join the fire service. So we're competing, we're fighting, and I want to say thank you to the fire department. The guys aren't here tonight, they've been busy on runs, but they wanted to express their thanks too for you all passing that budget amendment. We know it's a hit, and we know there are other expenses in the city, so we appreciate you all hearing this and making the effort to do that. So that's really about all I have.
Do we have any questions for Member Atkins or Chief Atkins? As always, we appreciate you and your team, and best of luck in getting us a new man or woman.
Thank you.
All right, let's go with Mr. Hathel. You, sir?
You all have my monthly report. I don't have anything else to add, no news. So if you guys have any questions.
Questions for Police Chief Hathel? That was easy, wasn't it?
Easy enough.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Lucas, if you would please approach.
You guys already got my report. Any questions? We're another man down this month. Hopefully we got another guy starting in the next couple of days. So right now it's just myself and Jordan. And we're doing all right. We'll be fine. We're getting things done. Hopefully we'll have another guy by August the 15th, so that'll be our full crew. But other than that,
I want to say how hard Rick and Jordan have been working the last couple weeks because we haven't had employees in the city. They've been working on weekends cutting the trails along the floodwalls. Every last 2 weekends, we've probably taken down like 8 trucks of cuttings
yeah,
from
we're
back there.
doing quite a bit of stuff.
So they've been working on the weekends, getting that done, and been doing all the stuff. Both of them have been working their butts off. I really appreciate it. Also, we talked about Sergeant Park. Tell the council what we're doing up there.
Yeah, up at Sergeant Park, we have Wiseman's Construction. They repaired some areas in the parking lot for us, and they're putting in a driveway, and they expanded the wings at the top. They'll be pouring first half of that tomorrow, and then we furnished the pipe and the drain pipe that went in the ditch along in front and down the side of the parking lot. And we bought the gravel and the pipe, and Wiseman's Construction donated their time to put it in for us. We're moving right along up there.
Looks great.
I think this is going to really solve that problem. We went under the driveway and discharged it out into the creek. So hopefully that's going to help. But it'll be closed. They're supposed to pour in the morning, and they'll probably pour again tomorrow or Thursday. It'll probably be closed all next week too, as far as traffic in the park lot. But We're keeping up a little bit. I mean, grass hasn't quit growing. I've never seen grass and trees this green in July.
We're tackling some tree issues.
Yeah, we had
one up on Urban Terrace.
Urban Terrace be taken down Thursday, and our other limb will be taken down Thursday at 1020 3rd Avenue.
Right.
And then we got 2 more on the list, but I don't know when that's gonna happen yet.
Thanks for all you've done. We have been shorthanded, both you and George.
We appreciate it. Any questions from anybody? Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Lucas. Last but certainly not least, Ms. Patterson, your report from code enforcement, please.
Hear my report, any questions? No questions?
I got comments. I just think that you're working really hard, and we're seeing a lot of good things happening because of your collaboration with Mr. Fawcett. We're seeing things get fixed that have taken years to fix, so good job. Good job to you, Mr. Fawcett. The city's already looking better within what you guys have been working together for 6 months. So this is great.
We just scratched the surface, I think.
Do what?
I think we just scratched the surface.
Yes.
Only just
Yes,
begun.
we have a lot in the works. We just have to work it, so,
I have a
yeah.
question.
Yes?
Who is responsible to cut the weeds on their sidewalk? Is it the homeowner?
Yes.
Homeowner.
So in the past, are you talking about Fifth Street? Oh.
I mean, I did Fourth. I mean, I cut someone's tree
So
down
I
without
went
permission.
walking a couple weeks ago and I tagged every door,
Okay.
all the way down Fifth Street, because Fifth Street was terrible. And I think people in the past, Rick, when he had a big crew, they would spray it. Well, I think people automatically just assume that it's the city's responsibility, but technically it's their responsibility. So I went and I tagged a bunch of doors and I got some nice phone calls and some not so nice phone calls. But that is my plan. When you get out on foot, you see so much more.
Oh, yeah, and it drives me nuts. That's why I think the city needs to put something out saying,
It absolutely is.
citizens, do not forget you are responsible for your sidewalks.
Yes.
The grass and the curbs look horrible.
It's-
When they
it's-
grow up that tall, I mean, yeah, it
Yes.
looks terrible.
It's really bad, and I mean, I just think a lot of people got used to when we had inmates and we had a lot of employees for public works, they just sprayed it and went on with it, and I think people kind of got used to that, and really, we don't have the manpower now, so.
I'm just saying, you need help putting door tags, let me know.
Absolutely, that'd be great,
That's
yes.
my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah, I mean, I can always just fill them out, staple my card to them, and I'll send them out to you, because like I said, I mean, it is nice. However, one afternoon, I probably, you gotta stop and talk to everybody, and so it's hard to, I
I
did
just
the
think we need to
whole, the
start making
1,200,
people
1,100,
accountable.
and 1,000 block of Fifth,
Yeah.
and it probably took me, I don't know, an hour and a half after stopping and talking to people and kind of telling them what was going on, but that whole section kind of knows now, and it's amazing, even Donna said, wow, it really looks different, so.
The other thing we're kind of doing is to help the police department. I mean, not only attacking abandoned houses, but we're attacking abandoned cars.
Yes.
And in the last 12 weeks, we've removed quite a few of those cars, thanks to the chief and his team, and Cassie, and the complaints we've got. The neighbors telling us this car's been here for a year, and so
Keep that up.
starting to crack down on that too.
I think the ordinance is 48 hours, is that correct, Chief? Is it 48 hours?
48 hours.
We're not going after the guy or the lady who's
On vacation.
on a 3-day weekend down in Gatlinburg. We're going after the people who parked the car there 6 months later and left.
Yeah. Weeds are growing underneath the cars.
I was
Yes.
gonna say, yeah, we're talking like leave them parked there for years.
Yes.
You can tell there's weeds growing underneath it, his car's been there for a while. Yeah, we usually, 48 hours, but usually if I could do a long weekend, it might be okay, but I think we left it there for a couple of weeks, probably in trouble.
So,
Ms. Patterson, I want to thank you, Mr. Lucas, and administration for addressing addressing the issues up on 10th and Walnut. I know we haven't had any more rain, but the abatement, the runoff abatement that they put in place up there, I hope that's adequate moving forward. I know SD1 came and cleaned out the storm drains up there, the catch basins. If we keep an eye on that, especially in the next rainstorm, I don't want to impede any development, but for the neighbors downhill.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you guys jumping on that so quick.
They're pretty, I mean, they do have Evans. I think landscaping is who kind of takes care of all their issues, and they're pretty quick to respond. You know, so.
And they know how to do it.
Yeah. Yes, they have the manpower and the money. And I appreciate all the emails, you know, if you see a problem. Just let me know.
Sure.
No, really, I do. Because like I said, I told, you know, this person that, you know, I could ride by the same thing 10 times and not see it, but you might ride by it and see it the first time. So I appreciate it. And the public, you know, they call and they email, and so yeah, it keeps me busy. So that's about it. If you don't have any other questions, let me come with you.
Thank you very much for your report, man.
All right, thanks.
That concludes department head reports. Moving right along. Mr. Fawcett, would you like to please give your administrative report?
Yes, so you mentioned earlier, we have acquired 2 properties that have been long-time eyesores in the city. One is at 701 Boone, at the very corner of Boone and 7th Street. We acquired that in a foreclosure sale. We've not received the Mr. Commissioner's deed. It takes a while to go to the court. The court's going to sign off on it. It sends a deed. So we've asked Duke Energy to shut off the utilities here, so we can tear it down. They're saying, well, until you have it in your hands as an entity, we're not going to do that. So I was hoping maybe they would give us authority to move forward, but I don't know yet. We also acquired a property right near that, 1015 7th Avenue from Mr. Sester, in exchange of waiving our liens and our taxes. He gave us the property. It's got to come down to Alex and I. I've been through it before, but Alex wants to see the properties. He's done a lot of rehabs in the past, and we should look at those 2 properties. They both really come down. They have serious foundation issues, and they're dangerous. So, that one we want to tear them down at the same time. I think it will be cheaper for us. So I'm hoping the next couple of weeks, once we get that deed, those 2 will come down. In addition to that, one at 705 Boone, which is 2 doors down, another house you really can't see because it's kind of hidden behind trees. That's in foreclosure. So we're trying to do the same thing with that one, get that one down. And that's an entryway in the city. It's always been kind of, in my mind, a bad image for people coming into our community. So I can't wait to get those down and turn that neighborhood around a little bit there. So that's underway. We got other projects too, but those are the ones that are imminent. Also, we've been working on the Fallon Manhattan Barber intersection as well. We've had a number of meetings. The fire chief was with us, public works director, Mike Yeager. We met with Bellevue city administrator and the public works foreman from Bellevue. And we've come up with a plan. Mike Yeager's in the process of putting that design down. Rick and I also met with AA Safety, is that the name, that does the thermal heated things, and he suggested, hey, you know, we want to come and do it right away. He says, it's stupid, you don't know where some of this stuff's going to go. We're charging double for coming out here, so just wait until you have everything ready, and then we'll come out and do it. So we're hopeful to have something from Mike here soon. We decided to go ahead and just put the sidewalk in, because that, if we just put a line there, people are going to ignore it. So we'll put a sidewalk in, put handicap accessible ramps that go down and up to the sidewalk over on Manhattan Boulevard, and create a separation between pedestrians and vehicular traffic. We're working with the fire department on their truck, make sure it has a turning radius that could fit. I think we've got that figured out. So I think we've got a good plan now. We've run the calculations to make sure that radius is correct. And so hopefully Mike will have something to us pretty soon that we can actually start getting concrete in place and striping the road and moving the stop signs to the places where we could do a little more effective.
No, the developer moved all the stone and rock.
Is he gonna take it out?
He's already taken it.
That's awesome, okay.
He must have took it out either today or yesterday.
Great, so that side will now continue all the way down until it gets to, what is that, Fifth Avenue? Yeah, and then it will be a handicap ramp there, then we'll do a handicap ramp on the other side to provide the store, so. It's underway, so hopefully we'll have some more news to report for next week.
Is there talk of them removing the trees by the Family Dollar for visibility?
What's that? Yeah, we're gonna trim it back, we may have to trim it. We're gonna try to trim it back initially, because the other thing that blocks visibility there is their actual wall that protects the dumpster, so we're at least gonna take it back to that wall. And I don't know if we have to take it all the way down, we might, but we're gonna see what we can do just by cutting it back. And that definitely needs to be cut back, for sure. And I think the sidewalk's gonna get kind of close to that too, because we may need to do that for people walking there as well. So yeah, that's part of the plan. That's all I got there.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
All right, man. That's a good report. Anybody have any questions for City Administrator Fawcett? All right, close the questions. Now I'd like to open up the council for anybody from the audience that would have anything to comment on, anything that's not legislative. So feel free to use this time to approach council with any of your comments and concerns. All right. Closing the audience. 3, 2, 1, and we are moving along to unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business, council?
Sure we.
What we got?
Sidewalk construction.
All right, great question. Thank you very much, Member Walter.
What's going on with that?
We're waiting for the state sign off on everything. They got everything they need. Again, I think they're so backed up from COVID, that's what their excuses are anyway. So I checked with Mike, he's on it.
Is there a document they need to sign off on?
Yes.
Just a
The
document?
final document.
So what's different between now and 6 months ago is we have Mike Yeager on our side who is working on that diligently versus us sitting.
Can we like go down there and help them find that document? I'm serious.
I know.
It's frustrating. I mean, it is frustrating because, first we had to purchase the right-of-ways. We got that done. Then we had to get their permission to send out the construction for bid. We got that done. Then we had to get their permission to award the bid. We got that done. What else is there?
I know. And we have the same issue on Riverfront Commons next phase. We got everything there. Everything is there. All we're waiting is the final approval. So I'm going to talk to Mike this week and just say, is there any way we need to go around somebody? I mean, you don't want to piss off somebody, but
I know we don't want to get them.
But it's frustrating. I agree with you. I'm frustrated.
If it does take a trip to Frankfurt, I'll do that.
We may have to do that. So that may be what we'll have to do.
We can go down and talk to Mr. Gray and see where we can go. I hate to go to the head of the department.
Yeah.
Because I would want to do that.
Because we got to deal with these folks again the rest of our lives. So I got to be careful
You don't
with
want to do
that.
this to
So,
somebody.
But anyway, I'm up with you. I feel as frustrated as you do.
See, Jess, that's only been 11 years.
There you go. I'm not worried about the light then. We graduated by then.
My big issue with it, maybe this could help move this forward a little bit quicker. Every year we ask about this, and every year, as Jeff said, we heard we're waiting on KYTC or something else. And then we run out of season to pour cement. We're already in August. You got August, September, maybe October.
November, probably.
Maybe November.
I'm still hopeful that this building season can be done. So, but we need to work as soon as we can because our contractor is waiting. He's just waiting to go.
And we do have business owners. Blue Ridge came in the other day to talk to me. When is this going to be done?
I'm sure people are asking me. I thought there was going to be a sidewalk up here.
We've got kids that are walking up the hill, and
Yep.
we've all seen that. Backpacks on these kids walking up that hill. We need to get them a safe route. Okay? So, what if we drafted a letter to KYTC saying council is concerned about
I mean, let me talk to Mike, because, I mean, he
We're
worked
back
there,
there.
he knows how it works. He'll give me some good advice on when we talk to him, I have what he's suggesting.
I'll trust you in that.
Yeah, let's see if we can expedite it, though. It's frustrating.
He's frustrated too, I mean,
That's a good portion of old business. That's a very old business.
Yeah.
Do you have any other old business that we'd like to address the council with? We're moving along to new business, and we do have something on the docket tonight. Member Demon's requested that we have a discussion regarding the city calendar discussion on our website. Ms. Demon?
Actually, I requested this a while back, like not this month, but I was looking at the calendar like probably 6 weeks ago. I don't remember, I couldn't say like this, but I think it's been improved.
right.
I just would like to see.
It's not a very good interface, and we
I
can
know
do
it
a
isn't.
better job.
I
And we
know.
are in the process of bringing in someone to build a new website.
That is what I would, yes,
Yeah.
love to see, because
that-
I know you're working with, I don't know what that is, you know, I mean.
It's Google Calendar.
It's terrible, but my hope is that, all the boards would be on, you know, so at least we could know that they exist, and know, when we can attend and where.
Right.
Consistently, it looks really actually good now.
It's getting
So
better,
I
it's
don't have
better.
anything to say about this now, but like, in the future, if you're gonna work on the website, are you gonna get input from us?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you gonna wait on hiring an assistant city administrator?
Well, that's, I'm glad you mentioned that, I forgot to mention that. We have, our applications are out there. The deadline was the end of July. We understand we have from NKADB that we have a number of good candidates.
Yep.
She's supposed to send it to us tomorrow. And then we'll have, we'll review it and go through the process. They can do the city manager, the city administrator position, which I was involved in, because I was a candidate, but, and hopefully we'll start doing some interviews soon and have somebody in place hopefully in a couple of weeks. So that's my plan, and that person will be working on that calendar and on that. So yeah, but yeah, I'd be happy to meet with you guys individually or as a group to talk about the website, what you want to see. I got some thoughts about what I want on it, and so yeah, any input you don't want to provide on that, well,
That is an excellent point. I want to have a city administrator, assistant city administrator in place by September. Mr. Fawcett works at both ends of the candle, so we need to give him some break so he can focus on tough stuff and stuff. Not saying it's not important, but things like city calendar should be delegated.
The other thing I wanted to mention, I forgot to, is that we're going to have some big news in the next week or so. I can't say it, I'm just going to be a teaser, give you a teaser, but there will be some big news announced, another development opportunity and project date in the next, I would hope the next week, maybe next couple weeks. So that's all city council knows, but just let everybody else guess.
You just want to keep people coming to meetings.
Cliffhanger.
You want to offer pizza the next one?
Sign up for the newsletter.
Well, by the way, if anybody are watching, we have a newsletter that goes out to about 400 to 500 people. And if you're interested in getting news, we send stuff out about every week. Please sign up. You go online and sign up for that letter, the newsletter, and you'll get news about what city council's doing, projects, different things like houses that are on behind the curb, things like that. Cool stuff about the city. So, yeah, please sign up for the newsletter. We'll send you stuff about what's happening.
Do you post the newsletter on the city first?
We don't, but I think that's what some people are going to do. Our blog function is not very good, and I wonder if that's what we got to do, expand and make it more attractive than it is right now.
Our Twitter page can be more active too.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't got Twitter? She doesn't all mind with updates.
Sometimes.
Mainly baseball stuff. Do we have any other new business that we'd like to address council with?
I do actually, sir.
Yes, sir.
Especially with the very recent discussions about the Arlington development, IRBs, and developers agreements, and what can we do, what can't we do. I think I've been at council meetings at least since the beginning, but for most of our council members, they haven't, and most of our citizens. I think it would be good very beneficial to us and to the community to have a summary of where we are in the projects down there on the river, what has been already planned, or they're just waiting to get money or whatever. As I said earlier, the last firm thing I heard about the Arlington property out there, or the marina property, that it was between single-family homes and this apartment complex. Who owns what? What clout do we have with the developer, with Arlington? I had the question earlier where I asked, is this going to come back to us for a second approval? That's why I got confused. At first the answer was no, and then it was yes. I think it would be beneficial to everybody, because there's almost a class envy between, and class envy is not the right word, a distrust of what's going on behind the flood wall, and a misunderstanding sometimes on all of our parts about who owns what, who's doing what, what's next. I think it would be a great benefit to the community and to us to have a public session, maybe as part of council meeting in September or October maybe, to say this is what's going on down there, this is what we know. If you want to have Mr. Sullivan or Mr. Stark or someone from Arlington come down to say what their plans are, just to try and get everybody on the same page. It's changed so much through the years. It's very difficult to keep up with. So I think a recap and a reset on that and a report on that would be very beneficial.
Right. Our lawyer, probably my lawyer, the coroner's going through a lot of the documents and he can provide some insight on what they, we probably might need to talk about that. I don't know, since it's a legal issue, I think it's kind of complicated. I don't want to talk about it in public, but that's something we'll figure out how to do it.
I think just get everybody up on the same page would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, and also like who owns what on a map, and then what's the current standing with the TIF agreement? That's been such an opaque thing for so many years, and can we have it, can we fit it in, and can it be changed, yes, no? And so kind of maybe that in tandem.
Yeah.
What are the goals?
I agree with that.
What agreements do we have? What can we expect? Former developers at this point?
Yep, I'm going to meet with Mr. Warner on Tuesday of next week, and we're going to talk about a lot of that stuff. He can have a meeting with you guys and explain what he's learned about the various, any documents that we've got there with the years we've worked with the TIF district.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have a new business.
I have one other item on new business, and it's not gonna be popular.
All right, what you got?
Well, as of yesterday, Dayton and Bellevue, Kentucky are in the critical zone for coronavirus. We are the only two cities in northern Kentucky.
You never know.
And I think we should follow CDC guidelines for masks inside when we're having a meeting. I mean, that's my belief. People vaccinated aren't going to get real sick, but they can transmit it to others. I don't want to transmit it to my grandchildren. I'm with them almost daily. So, I mean, as long as we're in that critical zone, it's just my opinion, I think we're all good. So,
Understood.
that's my request.
I believe, again, there's lots of opportunities for folks to get vaccinated. And if you have any questions on how you can get there, call the city. 491-1600 will help you find a place to get there. We recommend, or at least I recommend, I can't speak for everybody, but until we get through this, I appreciate your comments, sir. Anybody else? New business. Closing it. 3, 2. It's closed.
What do you think about these masks?
Now we're moving along now, Joe, to executive session. I'm going to need a motion to go into executive session to discuss 61.810 Bravo, deliberations on the future acquisition of real or sale of real property by a public agency, but only when publicity would likely affect the value of the specific piece of property to be acquired for public use or sold by a public agency. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Moved by member Volter, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by member Neiman, do I have all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Move into the public or executive session.